Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of United Talks podcast. And today, please, if you're joining us for the first time, do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. Today, we're going to be doing the match preview for the game between Manchester United and Brighton in the FA Cup. So it's FA Cup weekend, and basically, we're going to be facing, a Brighton side that has been having a bit of an up and down and all of that. And then also Man United having some managerial issues with interim manager Darren Fletcher. So this is Darren Fletcher, and he's in his second game as interim manager for Manchester United. What's your take? What do you guys think about the game? What do you expect from the game? I tried to do some deeper analysis into the game and all of that, probably using like basically stats from, how Brighton have played and all of that. But then we have to actually, tell ourselves the truth of what situation we're in right now as Manchester United. So basically, Manchester United face a very tough side in Brighton, if I can say, considering the last couple of games in which Man United have faced Brighton, under previous managers and all of that. So it'll be super interesting to see how the teams will line up, how the teams will, how how the team's going to face each other and all of that on Sunday. So we're going to go straight in. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. So that we can actually, have meaningful conversations and kind of build steam ahead of the Brighton game. So basically, let's get right into it. Let us get right into it. Give me one quick sec here. Anyway, yeah, let's get right into it. So, now Manchester United and Brighton have not drawn any of their last 20 matches against each other. So that's a very, very tough one to actually call right now because both teams have similar form heading into this game, like proper similar form heading into this game. I can tell you, like, it mirrors each other in the number of games won, lost, and drawn in all competitions or in the last couple of games. So basically, in the FA Cup, in the last five games for both teams in the FA Cup, Man United have 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 wins and 3 draws. You look at it from that perspective, you see that the last game Man United played in the FA Cup last season under Ruben Amorim, Man United drew to Fulham 1-1 and lost on penalties. Before that, if you remember the game at Coventry where Man United drew 3-3 and won on penalties, beat Man City 2-1 the next one, beat Arsenal 1-1 the next one. The Coventry ones, I think, under Ten Hag. Then, obviously, Arsenal played 1-1, beat them on penalties. Then, under Ruud van Nistelrooy, we played Leicester, I think, beat them 2-1. If I remember correct. No. I think it was under Amorim who played Arsenal 1-1, beat them on penalties. Then under Ruben Amorim again against Ruud van Nistelrooy played Leicester City, beat them 2-1. And then obviously against Fulham we played 1-1 and lost on penalties. And then for Brighton, they drew their last game in the FA Cup, and I think it's last season, and they lost on penalties to Liverpool. They played 1-2. They lost. They won Newcastle, beat Chelsea, beat Norwich, and basically the season prior they lost to Wolves, I think. So in all competitions, basically, both teams kind of have similar form. When it comes to head-to-head matches, there's been 19 wins for Man United, and 9 wins for Brighton, with 5 draws between both teams. And this game happens at Old Trafford. Now, the last game between Man United and Brighton ended in a 4-2 win. The one before that, Man United lost 1-3 to Brighton under Ruben Amorim, and the one before that, we lost 2-1 to Brighton again, and the one before that, we won them away 2-0 under Erik ten Hag, and then basically we lost 1-3 under Erik ten Hag to them again. I think that one was the beginning of the season, beginning of Erik ten Hag's second season, I think, or I believe. And then obviously, if you look at in the Premier League, that's why I said the form is similar. In the Premier League, Manchester United and Brighton have both won one game in the last 5, lost 1 game in the last 5, and drawn 3 games in the last 5 in all competitions. Man United have drawn 3 back-to-back games, while Brighton have So in the last 4 games, Man United are unbeaten, but they've drawn 3 back-to-back games. But Brighton, in the last 3 games, are unbeaten, but they've won 1, and they beat, I think they beat Burnley 2-0, Burnley that we drew 2-2, and then they drew to Man City in their last game, very tough game. So they've been a bit of an up and down roller coaster kind of team. And then you look at basically with regards to, you know, games won, games lost, games drawn, and all of that for both teams, you can now begin to understand the gravity of where we are. Man United have 8 wins, while Brighton have 9 wins in all competitions, especially basically general stats. And then there's been 9 draws between both, 9 draws for Man United, 8 draws for Brighton. And then Brighton have 7 losses, Man United have 5. So it all boils down to basically the fine margins and all of that. Now, how does Brighton play under Fabian Hürzeler? That's the next one we're going to talk about right now. Under Fabian Hürzeler, Brighton plays a dynamic, high-intensity, possession-based style with a focus on quick vertical transitions and aggressive pressing. The team demonstrates significant tactical flexibility, adapting formations based on the opponent's setup to control the tempo of the game. Now, when it comes to key aspects of their play, we talk about build-up and verticality. Brighton employs a fluid build-up, often using a 4-1 base or a 4-1 base or fluid 4-2-4 shape to bait the opposition's press. The key is to often quickly bypass the press with brave vertical passes into central areas. And they've shown it multiple times. Even against Man City, they did it, and I was like amazed. Utilizing ball-playing centre backs like Jean-Paul Van Hake to actually break lines, and this is a move away from the more patient possession under previous manager Roberto De Zerbi. Also incorporating more directness. Now, attacking overloads, that's the main emphasis of the way they attack. The team emphasizes on creating overloads in wide areas and in the final third to kind of generate scoring opportunities. Now, their fullbacks actually push high, and players like Yankuba Minte, who is actually injured for this game, is very crucial. Yankuba Minte is crucial to the way they play. Also, you could look at Kaoru Mitoma. Is crucial, especially in 1v1 or one-on-one situations on the wings. The aim is actually to get many bodies into the box, with central midfielders also making late runs to attack the space. Now, when it comes to aggressive pressing, defensively, Brighton are very aggressive, ranking highly in the Premier League for pressing metrics such as high turnovers and in the final third. They employ a high defensive line and a counter press immediately after losing possession to win the ball back quickly in dangerous areas. Tactically, and when it comes to their tactical flexibility, Hürzeler values principles over rigid formation, basically, with the team seamlessly shifting between formations like the 4-2-3-1 to 4-3-3 to 4-1-4-1 within a single match to exploit opponents' weaknesses. Players are encouraged to be decision makers on the pitch, reading the game situation to find solutions on their own. The system has led to an impressive start to the season, with the team showing resilience and an ability to perform well against top sides. So it's pretty interesting what Brighton have done, what Fabian Hürzeler has done. Obviously, I see so many reasons why he's been linked to the Man United job, but you can also see that they're not really doing well in the table other than just being some sort of a mid-table team. So, basically, which takes us to the predicted lineup for the Brighton game. Now, the predicted lineup for Brighton starts with Wout Verbruggen in net, Van Hake and Louis Dunk in the centre-back position in their 4-2-3-1 formation. Then they have Hinshelwood and De Kuyper. De Kuyper is going to be playing left-back. Hinshelwood is going to be playing right-back. When Hinshelwood was not available, I think they used, in the last game, they used Kadioglu as their right-back as well, and he can also play in multiple positions. Then you also have to look at the midfield. They brought back Pascal Gross from from Dortmund, and they have Ayari in their two defensive midfield positions, or the two double pivot. And then obviously Gomez, and Gomez is in the attacking mid, then Kadioglu on the right, then Karu Mitoma on the left, and then Rota is in their forward line as a striker. So it's going to be super interesting. Then Welbeck is also there in the team and all of that. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Then it's going to be the next. So the next thing we're going to focus on is basically the key player for Brighton. And I had so many key players to look at. There's also like Pascal Gross, there's Ayari, there's Kadioglu, whipping crosses like crazy. He has a good one. He has a wand of a right foot. There's Karu Mitoma, who basically is good on one-on-one situations. There's like I said, the Kuiper, there's Dunk, who's good in the air, and all of that. These are all players that have done really well at Brighton. So this takes me to my key player for Brighton, and who I think is going to be dangerous, especially considering the side is going to attack, Karu Mitoma. Karu Mitoma has played 11 games only this season. He's been injured for the most part of the season. And he's played 747 minutes in total, 2 goals, 1 assist for the 28-year-old Japan international. And basically, he scored in the last game, the only goal they scored against Man City in the 1-1 draw. He scored in that game and was subbed off, I think, at the 83rd or the 81st minute. So it is what it is. Karu Mitoma, key player for them, good on one-on-one isolating players one-on-one. He's good at dribbling as well. He's good at taking on players and everything in between. So yeah, it's going to be one for us to actually watch. And the next one is basically how Manchester United play under interim manager Darren Fletcher. We've gotten one game to see, and we've watched that game, and we can tell basically multiple ways in which Darren Fletcher plays, and we can actually try to see how we can judge the team from how he plays or how he sets up his team. There are multiple ways. You could call it, like, you could say, okay, there are many ways in which Darren Fletcher plays the game, especially in an analysis that I saw recently, even though we watched it and we did the live watch-alongs. There was an analysis that I saw that made me believe that Fletcher actually deployed multiple formations in the same game. And when he deployed multiple formations, we seem to have found a way to thrive. To beat Brighton in the FA Cup third round match on Sunday at Old Trafford, Manchester United needs to focus on specific tactical mental adjustments. Based on the analysis of their recent form and the opponent's style, here are 4 strategies to beat Brighton. But before that, let's talk about how Fletcher plays. Now, in his first game as interim manager, Fletcher's Manchester United played in a 4-2-3-1 formation, dominating possession and creating numerous chances in the 2-2 draw with Burnley on the 7th of January, which is on Wednesday. Now, to basically basically figure out how Fletcher plays, we have to talk about the formation shift based on the last game. Now, Fletcher immediately moved away from the previous manager's 3-4-3 system, which was seen as a major failing, to a back 4, basically, a system he is more comfortable with, and that is considered more synonymous to Manchester United's traditional style. This tactical tweak was intended to provide more defensive solidity and a better structure for the available players. There's a whole lot that we need to talk about with regards to Manchester United's style and potentially the United way, and what we think about that and everything in between. So with regards to performance and key moments, United had over 30 shots and a goal disallowed, with many efforts cleared off the line, suggesting a strong attacking performance but also a lack of clinical finishing. Benjamin Sesko scored a brace in the second half, converting from a through pass from Bruno Fernandes with a cross from Patrick Dogo also to give United a 2-1 lead. However, they considered the second goal to Jadon Anthony's strike, highlighting persistent defensive vulnerabilities, and particularly in conceding goals too early. Now, Fletcher's view on this is that Fletcher expressed a massive disappointment with the draw, feeling that his team created enough opportunities to win the game and lamenting the dropped points. Now, he praised the team's effort and application in coming back from a 1-goal deficit, but acknowledged the need to improve defensively. So, in summary, what I'm talking about with regards to Fletcher's way of playing is he switched to a 4-2-3-1 and he played 3 or 4 formations within that same system. He played a 3 at the back at some point, played a 4 at the back, played a 2 at the back because he pushed the right and left backs as the full backs. He pushed them forward as well to overload the mid and the attack. And you could tweak it however you feel and all of that. So that's pretty much from one sample size, because we don't want to judge from the under-18s, because the under-18s is you can't translate the under-18s into the Premier League because it's a different ball game when teams approach you. So, but if you take from the under-18s from his previous coaching stint in the under-18s, of which he's still taking charge, and then you add the Premier League game between Burnley, you can get a sense of how Fletcher likes to kind of set up when it comes to like the rest position, which is a 4-2-3-1. Now, with regards to my predicted lineup for this game, the way I feel like my will line up based on the last game is Son Olomon's in net against Brighton, and then I think Licha Martinez will sit on the bench for this one. Basically, he has played so many games this season already, coming back from an injury, an ACL injury, and he's not had so much of pace when it comes to how. Yeah, I understand that he has control, and this back four feels like a bit of a naive back four, but I'm just going to go with it. I expect maybe Darren Fletcher to go with Licha on the left side of centre back, Lenny Euro on the right side of centre back, to kind of give the team a little bit more balance, right? 2 left-footed players on the left side and 2 right-footed players on the right side. With Diogo Dalot playing as right back, we have no choice. He's the only one available at this moment. And then Luke Shaw playing on the left back spot. And then Casemiro and Ugarte, the only 2 midfielders we have, obviously, and we definitely need midfielders. And Casemiro and Ugarte in defensive midfield role, Bruno Fernandes in the attacking role as a 10, Matheus Cunha on the left or probably on the right as he started in the last game against Burnley, and Patrick Dogu on the right or the left. And the reason why I say Cunha could be on the right is because he has to whip crosses in. He struggled a little bit in the first half and they started to get involved in the game, but it seems like he's been stifled a lot, just being in this game, being at Burnley. He's supposed to be finding a way to express himself and all of that, but he's fluid. Bruno can switch, he can switch and all of those things. So Cunha on the right, Dogo on the left, or either ways. And then Benjamin Sesko hopefully continues his form, his goal scoring form. He created an assist in the last game against Brighton as well. So it's most likely going to be that. Now, with regards to key players for Manchester United against Brighton, we're going to go with the first key player we're going to go with, considering his impact in the last game, is basically Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes has played 19 games so far this season. He's played 1,383 minutes, I believe, and he scored 5 goals. He's got 8 assists in total for the 31-year-old Portuguese. The last time he scored was against Bournemouth, when he scored 1 goal. The one before that, he scored 2 goals against Wolverhampton Wanderers. The rest we've just had. He got injured against Villa and was subbed off in the 46 minutes, and then played really well against Burnley and created an assist. So he still continues to be our chief chance creator, despite the odds and however the structure and the team has played. So it is what it is. It's one of those things where we have to just basically work with what we have. And then obviously another key player for this team would be, and I'll say this again, I believe that he can do better than he has done in the last game against Burnley, and that is Matheus Cunha. Matheus Cunha also, the last time he scored was against Leeds in a 1-1 draw with Leeds, where he equalized when we were 1 goal down. In the last game against Burnley, he came off in the 74th minute for Shea Lacey, I think, or no, Mason Mount, I believe Mason Mount. So I believe that Cunha can actually deliver, for this team. He scored 4 goals. He's created 1 assist now in 19 games with 1,450 and 60 something minutes, over 1,400 minutes as well for a 26-year-old Brazil international. So, yeah, it will be super interesting to see. And also I expect a lot from Matheus Cunha, which takes me to the last bit of this analysis: how Manchester United can beat Brighton. Now, for Man United to beat Brighton in this FA Cup third round tie, Man United needs to focus on specific tactical and mental adjustments based on the analysis of the recent form and the opponent's style. And here are 4 strategies, like I said earlier, that we need to be able to succeed against Brighton. The first strategy for Man United to actually win against Brighton is to improve the defensive solidity and avoid conceding easy goals. The first against Burnley, we considered a deflected goal and we sat back a little bit, and then they pounced on us and scored a worldie. Manchester United's primary weakness is in defense, right? Which tends to concede goals easily, as seen in the 2-2 draw with Burnley. Now, Brighton thrives on space in transition and against teams that push too high, so United must, tighten up the back, basically, maintain defensive discipline, and prevent the Seagulls from exploiting gaps behind the back 4. So we need to deal with, when we're pressing high and all of those things, right? And then the second strategy is to leverage on Bruno's number 10 role. So leverage on Bruno creating from the number 10 role. Interim manager Darren Fletcher has moved Bruno back into his favoured, more advanced number 10 position, which has already shown promising signs in the Burnley match, utilizing his creativity and his vision to provide service to the forwards like Benjamin Sesko, who scored a brace against Burnley. Now, this is key to breaking down Brighton's defense, and Bruno has the ability to do that if he doesn't do too much and he continues to remain positionally disciplined. Him playing a free role, dropping back deep to receive the ball and creating chances, because I see him as an opportunity. I see an opportunity here where Bruno can drop deep, get the ball, create chances for someone like Cunha to make a run, for someone like Dogu to actually make a run as well. Dogu seems to be finding his form when it comes to playing on the left-hand side, especially when he played against Burnley. Now, the third strategy to win against Wolves is, the third strategy to win against Brighton is for Man United to utilize width and attacking fullbacks. Now, the switch to a 4-2-3-1 formation allows fullbacks like Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot to get forward and join the attack, as if they've not been doing that before. It's just that we need to be more clinical, right? They've been doing it. They did it under Amorim a lot, right? Now, against Brighton, using the width of the pitch and getting crosses into the box can actually create scoring opportunities, especially if players like Benjamin Sesko and Joshua Zirkzee are in the penalty area, assuming Joshua Zirkzee starts this game. Then the fourth strategy also is for Man United to capitalize on attacking opportunities and improve finishing. Now, in the last match, United had over 30 shots with numerous chances, but lacked the clinical finishing. You look at Benjamin Sesko, who had 8 shots and 7 on target, and those shots on target, the ones that he had on target that were so clinical, you can tell was the header that was cleared off the line or cleared by the goalkeeper, and then the 2 goals he scored, which were clinical goals, and then the third one. So the header, the 2 goals, which is 3, and then the third one was the. So those were the actual clinical attempts that Sesko had, right? Apart from that, every other one that he had of those 7 on target, the other 4 shots that he had on target were pretty much very weak shots. Didn't hit them really hard, and this guy is supposed to have a wand of a foot to hit shots left or right foot, but he didn't do that on the day. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna blame him, because obviously he had 2 goals, right? So he did what he could to help the team, right? Then, which takes me to the fourth. We've talked about the fourth strategy. Sesko, Man United in total had 30 shots, so we need to utilize this because Brighton are also a high-scoring team, but they concede regularly. So United needs to be more ruthless in front of goal to actually ensure that they convert chances into goals and outscore the opponent. So yeah, we need to convert our chances into goals. We need to make things happen, especially when it comes to Brighton. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Basically, we face Brighton at Old Trafford, and obviously, you've seen that in our head-to-head, especially looking at the last 5 games against each other. Man United have lost, I think Man United have lost 4 of the last 5. 4 of the last 5. Right, 4 of the last 5, and winning the last one 4-2. So it was tough in that one, and Man United really did well, had a full squad, right? And of the last, maybe let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, Man United have lost 5 to Brighton, right? The last 6 games. No, Man United have lost 4 to Brighton, winning 2. So yeah, it's going to be super interesting how Man United approach this game. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. Please just give us that like. It's free. Just like the video so we can get people to actually, see it and all of that. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't already, please do. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye and God bless.